everyone. Nice look, good. It sounds like we got more coming. Hey, it's Jerry, welcome back to Schmucker Farm. I had to come inside the feed room because with the ceiling, it dampens the rain and wind noise, so it's so loud in the center of the barn, I don't know if you can even hear what I'm saying out there. But farming happens, even in the rain. It's been like this all night. I got up before daylight and tried to wait it out. I thought I'd catch a break in the thunderstorm so I could feed a little bit earlier. It's probably about 6:45 now, I would guess. So the typical morning routine, just getting everybody's food together. I guess bucket's got a little bit of stuff in it. I'll feed everybody and put some extra hay in the stalls. Hopefully this will knock off by lunchtime, they can go out. But when the weather's severe, I'm not putting any animals out in it. Even the horses would go out in it anyway, but I don't think it's a good idea to put them out there. Too much could happen. But there's a lot of work that has to be done. Even if it's storming, I still have stuff I have to get done around here. The minis don't get quite as much food as Nugget, obviously, since he's a draft horse. And they're small enough that you could probably pick them up if you had to. Get their food. Alright, so we got all the food set, so I'll make everybody happy. Back up. This is hard enough to do without you doing what you're doing. Back up. So for the goats in the stalls, I really like these divided bins that you can pick up at Tractor Supply. They're pretty cheap. Because she needs more mineral. She's pretty close to her kidding time. She kind of started looking a little bit like she's getting close this week. The ligaments on either side of her tail are pretty much non-existent. So at that point, I don't really know, how to tell any closer, because that's their last indication before they start actually the kidding process and labor. Here you go, babies. Here you go, little babies. Oh goodness, everybody wants some of it today. And somebody made a turd in the water. Gotta get the water out. That's the one thing about goats. If it's aggravating, they will do it. Poop in the water bucket, no problem. We can poop in the water bucket. I gotta get in here and clean this stall out too. The babies are 60 days old, so big yawn. They are getting ready to go out with the rest of the herd. I am going to be splitting the outside enclosure because the Billy and the two bigger does, they're probably at least another 6 weeks out from delivery. They're the bullies of the group, so they will push everyone else off the food, and the babies will need to get some food, although they eat a lot of hay and they're still nursing, so having a lot of grain isn't really a big deal. I can't put a creep feeder out there. The problem with having a limited access creep feeder when you're splitting a herd up with the bigger goats and then also allowing horses to graze is you get your bigger animals that are capable of breaking into it. So the babies will be going out soon. They're 60 days old, so they'll be getting, I know you're supposed to ear tag, most people ear tag them when they're a couple of days old, but I just didn't have the heart. And they're easy to handle, so I've got to tag them, make a decision on whether or not I'm going to weather the little male. I'm thinking probably not. I really like his conformation, but he'll probably be offered up for sale here in a couple of months. But I got to go out here and check on the outside goats next. Farm dogs don't care if it's raining or not. Good morning, goats. So one thing I got to get done today is I want to pull the loose hay that's right up against the fence out. You can see over here, they'll stand here looking out and poop, and goats are notorious for pooping and peeing in their hay. So I'm going to pull that stuff out. They won't eat it, which will greatly reduce the footprint of this. And I'm going to tighten the cage up, probably take this section over here off. That way they can access the stuff that's on top and kind of eat it down a little bit. And the main reason I shut them up is I don't have a livestock guardian dog, and there are coyotes, as well as we have neighbors that allow pit bulls to run loose. And I have seen them up at the front end of the farm. I haven't seen them back here in the back. And frankly, it's just not worth the risk to me. A dog is not going to climb in there with them. But if a coyote does, he's going to wish he didn't. So Silver Goat here's on maternity watch. The ligaments on either side of her tail are pretty much non-existent. In the last week, she's really put on an udder. And I think she's still bagging up. And she's starting to swell up on the back end. All signs that she should be coming in the next week. And as fast as she started bagging up, I was a little bit concerned, so I went ahead and shut her up. And as you can see, if you can tell from the camera, she's hollow on either side of her tail, whereas before she wasn't, which is a pretty good indication. That's what I got with this one. You can see how flat it is between the top of her hips and her tail. There's not a big dip there, and her ligaments have come back to the size. They feel like a pencil on either side of her tail. And whenever she was ready to go into labor, they were non-existent as well. So just following all the same signs. I did not shut her up before she actually started producing fluid and was actually going into labor ready to deliver. But I wanted to get her used to the smaller space because I had a full-size horse stall available for the other goat. Now, obviously, if you have a big herd, this is not something that you can probably do unless you have a large facility. But since I only have, I think, a dozen goats, it works out pretty well for me. I want to keep a close eye on them because I'm new at this. And had I not been here for the labor of the triplets, the last one would not have made it because she was busy cleaning up the second one. The third one was born right behind it and was stuck in the bag. The bag did not rupture as she came out. And I had to actually go in there, take a pair of gloves, open the bag up, clean the baby's face off so it could breathe. Otherwise, it would have just suffocated in the bag. So that's the advantage of a small goat herd. Obviously, they're not as profitable as a big goat herd, but you're able to give a lot more one-on-one attention and take care of any issues. All right, that's about it. I'm gonna take a look at the radar and see if we have any more big bands coming through. I do think we have at least one more, but I don't think it has a lot of lightning associated with it. So that'll tell me when I can split them up and let them out. I let the main goat herd out after I gave them a little bit of corn because they have a shelter, and goats don't like water. So if it rains, they're gonna go get in there. Horses will stand out in it. I still don't understand the reasoning behind that, but they do. But right now, one of the goats is in there eating, and the rest of them are out here. As soon as it dries up just a little bit, I'm gonna get in there and start working on that hay bale and getting that cleaned up and get the fence redone on it. That's it. Farming happens even in the rain. It doesn't really matter, you know, what the weather's doing. Buy you a good set of rain gear. This is a Frog Tog that was given to me. The zipper's already broken on it. I've only worn it maybe a dozen times. But rain gear is a must because you're going to be out in it no matter what happens. Until next time, thanks for watching.